It's a real pleasure to welcome in the new head coach of the Cleveland Charge, the 8th head coach in Charge history, Eli Kell-Abrams. Eli, pleasure to have you on board.
I could not be more excited to be here.
Well, how does that sound? Head coach of the Cleveland Charge and the 8th head coach in franchise history.
It sounds surreal. You know, I think as you're kind of working your way up in this business, I think this is something you dream about and you try and work as hard as you can, and you got to have some luck. And you know, again, just super thankful and very, very happy to be here.
So you're new to the organization, which is a little different than what we've had here before. We've had a lot of promotions from within. So I'm curious the story of how you came to be with Cleveland. Tell me about the conversations you had with the Cavaliers organization and Charge head coach, general manager LaRon Fannin.
Yeah, so luckily enough, LaRon and I got connected through Matan, an agent for Denny Edvia, who was out in Portland, who I worked specifically closely with. On top of that, Steve Hetzel, one of the early Charge head coaches, was a big mentor of mine who I also worked with in Portland. And again, a lot of this business is luck and timing, and I heard the job came open and kind of rallied the troops on it, and I was lucky enough to get one interview and have that lead to the next.
So you're a first-time head coach, but you definitely have experience within basketball. You've been with Portland, Philadelphia, plenty of other teams, Miami, and you've done pretty much all the jobs needed to be done: video coordinator, player development, assistant coach. How excited and how much have all of those helped you prepare you to be a head coach?
I think each role prepares you a little bit differently, and I think we are all kind of shaped around the people that we work with and work for in this business. So it's been really cool. You know, as the best coaches in the business steal little things from everyone. And I think I've been super lucky to be able to steal from some of the best. And I think that's going to hopefully prepare me to do an okay job.
Well, that's a perfect, you said you had broadcast experience before, so that's the perfect lead-in. Yeah. I mentioned the teams. So some of the names that you've worked with: Chauncey Billups, legend, Hall of Fame player.
Incredible coach.
Eric Spoelstra, everybody knows about him. Everybody knows about Doc Rivers. Yeah. And you mentioned Steve Hetzel, the second coach, I believe, second coach in Charge history. You mentioned about taking bits and pieces. Without giving necessarily every little nugget from each person, what are some of the things that you've taken from some of those names that, again, all of our viewers, everybody knows those names?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think from Coach Spo early, I think as started from video intern and kind of worked my way up there, you learn the level of preparation that's necessary to be an elite team. And I think there was a big poster on the wall over there just talking about just how you got to be the most prepared, hardest working, and Coach Spo definitely fed that into his video room, and he cared about it like it was his baby. And so from that standpoint, it taught me the level of preparation needed to last in this business. From Coach Doc, I definitely took from him. He had such a presence in front of the team. And, no matter what was going on, he was about delivering the right message to the team at the right moment. And the way he was able to execute that, no matter what he had going on, he was never going to falter in front of the team. And I thought that was huge from him. With Coach CB, his feel around the guys is something I would love to emulate one day. And he's just an incredible leader because he leads with empathy. And he's really dove into what makes the guys tick, and whether sometimes they need tough love, sometimes they just need love. And I think the balance he had with knowing when to give what was, something someday that I really hope to emulate.
And it doesn't hurt that he was a Hall of Fame player as well.
Man, no, he still gets out there every now and then, and he just tells the young guys, just get under there, get under the net. I'll do the rest.
So we also mentioned Steve Hetzel. When you and I spoke a little bit earlier before the interview. You're still close with him, and you're still he kind of still mentors you. Talk about that.
Man, he got a phone call before every single one of the interviews.
Wow.
And it's really cool to, I think, video guys, there's an unspoken brothership there, and I think it stems from kind of the mold that someone like Coach Spo sets, and then you see other video coordinators in the business and you see them work their way up, and it's really inspiring.
I was going to say, because, it's interesting, a lot of people don't understand. They think head coaches are just automatically head coaches. But so many big names, and I'll throw another one out, Mike Brown, former Cavaliers head coach, Sacramento, and now with the Knicks. He started off as a video coordinator. Tell us about the importance of why you think a video coordinator is able to maybe take those steps and become good head coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a video coordinator, you have to do two things incredibly well, and you have to do them no matter what's going on. You have to be an elite problem solver, and you got to be able to manage people. For the problem solving, you have your hand in so many different things. You have your hand in scouting. You have to jump on the court and work out a player. Then you have to get back and present personnel to the team. Then you got to make sure this coach has the games he needs in order to watch. While also, making sure that the games are ready for the next coach and the next scout. So you need to be able to multitask, stay organized, and stay on top of stuff. And in terms of the managing people, the best staffs have a lot of different personalities, right? A lot of different walks of life, and you need to be able to touch all of them equally in a way that they'll respond to. And I think that's incredibly important because, on your staff, you have your former video coordinators that want things one way. You have your former players that want things another. You have your head coach that could be a wide-ranging, variety. So I think on top of that, while also managing a team that works with you, your interns, your assistant video coordinators, your player development guys, I think finding a way within the chaos to also manage and make sure they enjoy coming to work every day, like that's what being a head video coordinator teaches you to do.
So we mentioned Eric Spoelstra, Miami Heat. Remember Ron Rothstein, who was a head coach of the Miami Soul of the WNBA? Absolutely. He was an assistant coach with the Cavaliers back in the 90s, and he told me a long time ago, the biggest 18 inches in the NBA is the assistant coach to the head coach. Absolutely. All right? Yeah. So you're making that move.
Oh, man, could not be more excited. I think the best in this business, embrace the challenge. And that's something I learned from Coach Spo. There are going to be jitters. And if if they're not jitters, then you're not excited enough about it. There are obviously going to be some jitters. But, the real coaches in this business I've learned don't run from something challenging. And I'm excited for the challenge. And there are going to be ups, there are going to be downs. And, plenty of times that, I'm going to wish I would have had something back. But that's what this is all about. It's about learning.
I mentioned at the top, you're a player development coach as well. You're a young guy, you're in great shape, you got a lot of enthusiasm. You still get out on the floor a little bit?
As much as I can.
Is that part of being a head coach to you?
I think absolutely. I think it's a huge way of building equity with the guys. Especially when you when you look at, me or the mold of coach that look like me that played Division III, there's some equity that needs to be made up. And I think the best way to make that up is get out there and sweat with them, put bodies on bodies and, really show them that, I'm not out here going crazy, but it's you build sweat equity with the guys, and I think that goes a long way.
So we mentioned your relationship, how you met LaRon Fannin, how that all came about. What's the relationship with her? Season's coming up quick. Yeah. The sitting down, talking nuts and bolts, putting the team together. What have those conversations been like?
Oh, I think she's incredible, and I'm so lucky to be able to learn under her, and she does such an incredible job. She's put an incredible team together, and I think when we're kind of talking about constructing the team, we talk about just a cohesive unit that can kind of mirror what the Cavs have going on. I think you want to be as much as possible kind of one band, one sound with the main team. And I think, we're tweaking some things with the main team, and I think, our charge is going to mirror that.
How do you balance your ideas? Because I know you have a ton. You're a young guy and you're just getting rolling.
Of course.
But also at the same time, the relationship between the NBA team and the G League team. What Kenny Atkinson, what Kobe Altman, what Mike Gansey are going to look for. How do you think you're going to be able to put those two together?
Oh, I think seamlessly. I think it's really important, especially throughout the interview process. My big thing with them was, hey, we need to figure out what the ratio is going to be, whether it's going to be 85%, 15%. But my goal here is to be one band, one sound. And I think the powers that be, I think before everything gets rolling, powers that be get in a room and we decide what success looks like for the Charge, for the Cavs, and we try and mirror that the best we can. And of course, the G League is also for testing out really cool ideas. I think it's funny, I always tell people, back when I was with the Miami Heat, everybody remembers Duncan Robinson and the 30 points in the finals. Not a lot of people remember that the ATOs that were run in the finals were run for Sioux Falls the year before by Nevada Smith. Right, so I think those are some really cool ways that, again, this is about being one band, one sound, but there's also some cool stuff that we can test out for the Cavs.
You talk about success. Well, the Cavaliers have had a lot of success the last couple of years, especially under Kenny Atkinson last year. What have the conversations been with him?
It's been incredible. I think we're connected through another coach in this business named Chris Fleming, was German national team head coach, was the offensive coordinator for Portland, someone who I also look up to very dearly. and they've been great. You know, a lot of just catching up about him, but a lot of, you know, talking about, you know, what the vision is for the Cavs, and you see it every day how competitive he is, and like I think that is something that we're going to make sure we channel through.
What's funny, my last question here for you is, so with the season starting soon, are you more excited or more anxious to get started? I think I know the answer to that. I think excitement is more the answer, correct?
Absolutely. No, this is an incredibly exciting opportunity for me, the staff we're putting together, and for our guys. And it's just every day getting out there and building with these guys has been a ton of fun, so I can't wait for the season.
I can't wait to get started. Eli, pleasure to have you here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the time. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to have fun.